Okay, guys. So thank you very much for joining this particular PDC session. So today's topic, what I have chosen is about like job success. One or two of my previous PDCs also was on the same topic. So in under this line only, like I'm choosing some specific things, like so that maybe we get some guidance to this, especially all this young crowd, which is joining us, like will be working in the industry and think that's what my intention is. So with that same thing, I'm continuing today's topic. What I have chosen is something called as value addition or adding value, how you can get the job success and in that direction. So the basic thing over here, right? Like we all join our professional journey like with the intention that like we will move towards success. Nobody like wants to just get stuck anywhere or just they join for sake of joining. We all have some intentions, like, and it's very common, like all of us, we want to like earn skills, we want to earn some finances, we want to develop ourselves professionally and make growth in our career. So that's what like everyone has intention. Now what does like organization or company when they do give us the opportunity to work with them, what intentions do they have? Of course they have like something similar, like for themselves, right? Every organization, even if it's a NGO or this thing, they also want to achieve success. When they hire individuals, they want them to like perform certain responsibilities, perform certain duties, like so certain expectations are associated when individuals are hired and they want them to generate some output. Now like what like my observation, the way I have put things, right? There are two three types of people typically which you will find when they work in a professional world. Sometimes like some people, they don't have any motivation or they don't have any intention, like they are just flat, like they just do things kind of mechanical, like no matter what you give them, they are okay, like they don't have any problem, they don't have any ambitions or this thing, like they will not complain, they will just keep on doing. Then there are one more category, one more type of people, they do have ambitions, they do have a little bit of motivation also, and they are very genuinely hardworking, like they put in a lot of efforts and things. They will not see left and right, like they will just do things and just do things like in a hard way to like try and achieve them, etc. Now there is one more category which same way like these hardworking people, these people also have ambitions, like they also want to get success, they want to bring success and they put in a lot of efforts or hard work kind of. But there is a slight difference. What they do is the efforts what they put, like they make sure that these efforts are creating some impact, it's making a difference for somebody, whether that somebody can be themselves or it can be their team or it can be their organization, but they ensure that the efforts what they are putting, it's making an impact. So that is where like the difference, and we are going to talk, or the topic of today's discussion will be this third category, how you can be this third category, where efforts what you are putting is not just merely hard work, but it's like something which is making impact, like or creating value for yourself, for your team, and for your organization, because these are the people who really get or achieve their success in their career or in their job. So a line which I came across, I have just put over here. It's not about being the best in your field. It's about being valuable in your role. Like remember, skills are important, no doubt about it. Like, but just you being having excellent skill, not necessary you're adding the value. It matters how you're using those skills to create the impact for your team, for your company, and ultimately for you individually. So like that's what matters. So now let's understand what does it mean by adding value at work. Like So basically, when we say adding value at work, right, it means that every action what you you're taking is towards like creating some impact or generating some valuable output like for your team or for your organization. Things it can be different things, like for example helping it to save resources, taking on some important work and ensuring that it's delivered in timely manner, identifying areas that need improvement and coming up with some suggestions or solutions for that, or fostering and contributing in some innovative like things with your organization. Right now, that's like kind of the definition what I came across. Now, what happens when you why you add value, like how does it like matter? Like adding value to an organization is why anyone is hired, what I mentioned earlier, right? A company hires you, like organization hires you, they will have some expectations, like each of you belong to certain department, certain position in that department or in that company, which has certain expectations like associated. Now, in organization, anyone is hired or promoted and kept long term. So, continuously finding ways to add value to your employer can often yield a longer, higher return on investment. So, like those people who are creating the impact, organization, will certainly think about, yeah, I mean, this guy or this girl is like really making an impact, adding the value in a great way for the organization, right? So, those are the people, like they will think that, okay, like maybe these are the right candidate to take on more higher responsibilities or position and like will be retained for the longer. So that's why adding value or creating that impact will always work in benefit for you as an individual. The term adding value can be placed in the category of, it's like a soft skill, you understanding what does it mean, like or like with respect to your position or your company or your team, understanding that or executing it in a way, all these things, like so what is like what I came across, that at one place it was even said that adding value can be considered as a soft skill, just like how you have your other soft skills, your communication skills or your decision making, leadership, different leaderships, these are all soft skills, right? Same way, adding value also can be considered as a soft skill. Now, one important note which I have put over here, like that, please don't misinterpret adding value with quantity. Doing lots doesn't necessarily mean adding value. See, this picture, what I had mentioned, this second category, you are just doing hard work. You're not looking left and right. You're just doing hard work. Like and trying to generate lot of output, not necessary you're adding value to your company, like maybe but maybe that impact is not there. Like so don't confuse like quantity with adding value. Adding value is a different ball game, like we'll understand what it is more like in further slides. Now identify where to add. We spoke about like what is adding value, why to add value, how it will benefit you, like right. Now how do I identify like where to add value? So the basic funda here is there is no fixed formula like where to add value. So it can be different things, as I said, different departments, different organizations and all, but still few things I have listed down. See which one you can relate, or I'll explain few of them. So there is no this thing, you need to understand your organization and what it needs most, what are its short and long term business goals. If you compare with our company, like I'm pretty sure like you guys know already our vision document or our yearly goals, quarterly goals, all these things are visible for you. What are its core values? Like again, our core values, what we have, like those are visible to all of you. Who's on the leadership team and what do they value? What does my boss like to see in an employee? Now like here again, don't take the term boss as this thing like kind of, but here this term boss can refer to multiple entities also. Like sometimes it can be the project manager with whom you are working, it can be the team lead with whom you are working, it can be the manager or assistant manager with whom you are working. It can be various entities which can be this thing. So boss means like not necessary I'm referring to CEO or one particular thing. Okay, what problems does what problems exist that the company isn't addressing it? Maybe like if you identify something, that can be a good place where you can contribute and make some impact, add some value over there. How does this company define business growth? Customer acquisition, more sales leads, more profits, better reach. So every company has its own this thing, right? So you identifying it, how does it define the business growth and contributing? Because like as I said in the first slide, ultimately you as an individual also looking at growth, and same way any organization will also aim or look at getting the growth. So that's why it's important that you identify how do they define the business growth and contribute over there. Now if you are still not able to relate to any of these things, the last one which is listed is know your role, that is know your job. Like this is the most important one, which is mandatory, which you should be knowing. Everyone, all of us, we should know what is expected, like what is the basic thing which is there. Now again over here, the tricky part is don't just stick with what is written on our kit or like any other place, right? Because the expectations they keep on changing, the expectations they keep on evolving. You work with people, sometimes you work with different teams, different people, and they all will have expectations around you. So the things which are maybe written in your job description, those are the basic things, but besides that what we have is also like the accountability charts and other stuff, right? So you knowing it, what people are expecting from me, those who are around me, like with whom I'm collaborating, me having knowledge about it is also very important. Because if I don't know what my boss or what my manager is expecting from me, then I will not be able to make the impact, or I'll not be able to add the value in the right way. And I'm just thinking, okay, I'm as a manager, what our HR team has listed, the I need to do this, like I need to conduct one-to-one meeting, I need to conduct PDC, but does it get over there? No. Maybe my CEO has a different additional expectation from me, like something what I need to, so I need to be aware of that. So you have to be little bit agile about it, like yes, know what is written on the paper for your this thing, basic job expectation, but also make sure that you identify the different expectations from different leadership team associated with you, so that you can know. Now the first step, you want to know how can I add value. These are the things, if you don't know any of these things, maybe these are the places which you should be looking at, to identify how you can actually make the impact. Now that's something what put as a this thing. Now how to add value? Now there are two things I just discussed about, know your role or job. Now don't restrict yourself to what is written on paper, like that may not fulfill everything. Just make sure that your accountability chart, or expectations with all the leadership team associated with you, you are also aware of that. That will be the most important thing. The pod or team you are working, the PM, the tech lead, maybe the technical manager, maybe the assistant manager, maybe the manager, maybe all these things are very important, entities who are working with you. So that's why the accountability chart becomes very important, that you know about it. Okay, so how to add value? If you know the expectations, you'll be able to do that. Now that's one part of it, but there is one more thing which I have mentioned over here. So now we'll be keeping our focus on that part, that is be productive. Okay, so let's learn about this be productive part in little bit more detail, so that you will understand this concept of adding value little bit more. Okay, now productivity or being productive, all these things, which we come across multiple times, and we have heard about these things, right, time and again. But what my observation is, there is always a confusion, like one thing, sorry. So there is always a confusion, or we misinterpret the word productivity or being productive, like with busy, like it happens with me also. It's not that we do it intentionally, but sometimes, it does happen, that we are just occupied, we are doing things, like kind of. But are those things what we are doing, are those producing results? Is that the thing which I'm doing, is that creating any impact for my team, for my company? Not necessary, right? But we, actually we miss that trick, like we do not realize it. So we'll just read, I don't remember what I had put in the slide, so I'll just read this now. Busy is about working harder, while being productive about working smarter. Okay, being busy is fueled by perfectionism, while being productive is fueled by purpose. Right. Being busy is about being good at everything, while being productive is about being great at few important things. Okay. So basically what happens, like if let's say you have certain things, and there are a lot of other things which are coming, getting added, and you're getting exhausted. There are so many things you are doing, and what you are doing is you are trying to ensure, no, I'll finish everything. Like that's what I want to be the hard worker. I'll finish everything, and this thing kind of. But then what you do when you take that approach is kind of you burn yourself physically and mentally. Like, so in the long term it creates, impact on you, like on your health, on different aspects of your, day to day routine life, etc. So this approach of hard work which you are taking by just tackling the busy thing, like, so my capacity in a day is to do 5 tasks. I'm getting 10, 12 tasks. I'm staying late. I'm doing it, like kind of. Sometimes when I do it, even the quality gets compromised and this thing kind of, but I'm doing. Now that's not a good approach. Along with the health, this thing, it will definitely not create any impact. And for my job success also, it will not be this thing. Instead of that, if I work in a smarter way, if I choose those things, and which are more of priority for me, my team, my company, that will be a better approach. Or some people have these things, I want to do it in a perfect way. Like example, I'll give you, which I came across few months back. So client had, requirement, wanted something like to be launched on a website, functionality or this thing. And it was a last moment change, like a day or two before, like the client requested, or that day is the launch date, and I want this feature to be present on the site. They had some event or something. Now, and it was passed on to the developer. Developer was quite senior. This is from our company only, example. Okay, I just won't reveal the name. But the developer said that this thing, like the day client was expecting the thing to go live, it was not ready. So when it was asked, like, why, you said there is a progress 70% yesterday and it was expected to complete. Yes, but I mean, if I do it this way and continue and just launch it, it will create a problem. So what problem? It will not be aligned with the proper coding standard and this thing. I mean, okay, it's okay to stick with the coding standards and all these things kind of, but clients need is right now to, get this thing on the live side right now, and you are telling me that you need to do it in a perfect way, so that it doesn't, create a discrepancy in code and all. I understand your point is not wrong, but sometimes, doing it in a way so that it delivers the purpose. Now what happened, we were not able to deliver the feature, like client got mad, and this thing, because this thing I had to, like, we had to bring in a different developer. Like in that half day we had to make a temporary this thing, a static one, put it on the side, this thing like side, and just display it over there. So it could have been done in a smarter way, like to fulfill the client's need. And the other thing, the perfectionism could have been handled later, but sometimes we fail to realize. Now in this case, what creates more impact? You working in that smarter way, not holding to your perfectionism, deliver what client needs, and but then you continue with your this thing, right? That's another example, like where you get busy to do things in a perfect way, but then you miss the train. What's the use of it, right? Being busy is good at everything. Like, it's a fact, you need to understand, like, you cannot be good at everything. Like, even if you try, it will take long time, you will miss the train again. It's of no use. Like, rather than that, like, focus on few things where you can really become, like, master, and like, you can create impact using those things. So these are important points, like, what you need to realize or understand. Now, but still, what does it mean by productive? Like, what does it mean by being productive? Like, so in simple terms, productive means somebody who is achiever, or somebody who delivers things, like somebody who is result oriented, like somebody who delivers the results and like helps to achieve things, right? Being productive is the core of every high level achiever in the game. No matter, like, I've written few names, I don't even want to read those, but no matter, like, who celebrity, or like, the biggest sportsmen, politicians, and like anyone, you check any of their autobiography, or like, read articles about them, you will find one thing: those people were achievers. Like, they reach to that position by delivering things, by achieving things. I know, like, I mean, it's harsh thing. Like, sometimes we do put in a lot. I work in the, like, I mean, I'm associated with business development. I don't know if anybody from business development team is there right now, but this line, like, if you ask them, can be so, like, harsh for them. Like, when you say, because imagine, when there are 100 leads, out of 100, sometimes you don't even, like, close one lead. Like, does that mean they are not doing work? Like, do they not have, like, intention of bringing business for the company or closing the deals? No, it's not like that, right? Poor guys, they are putting in efforts, they are doing everything, but sometimes it doesn't work out. But it doesn't matter. Like, what will count ultimately is what deals are they closing. Nobody will count, like, none of us will count or say that, "Oh, okay, like, we lost so many things, like, we did not get business from 100 leads." What we will count is we got business from two leads, we got two projects. Ultimately, everyone will count that. It's the reality, what we need to understand. Achieving things at right time is the key of being productive. Not just achieving thing, but the timing also matters. It's very important. Understand this, like, the most important thing for you, like, in your professional career, achieving things and in timely manner is something that will change your professional growth. Like, ultimately, that's what will matter. I put one line over here in the end: you don't need to be in everything, or don't hold up things. Some people have this nature, like, especially, and I've seen, like in our teams also, like, some people have this habit. When you give them little bit of promotion, like high responsibility, then because they are good, like they have talent and all, then they want to be in, like, every place, they want to do everything. So sometimes, like, they hold up things. Okay, this is like something new technology is coming, or new client is coming, new project is coming, like, I will be there, like, I will hold it up, kind of. So what happens is they try to hold too many things, and they fail to deliver. Now, understand, this will backfire if you do this. Like, this will backfire. Instead of you getting growth, this will create a negative perception about you, and your growth will get tremendously impacted. So never do that. Don't try to eat more than your capacity. You will get diarrhea. That's what it is. Like, So don't do it, don't do that way, don't hold up things. There are people around you, they also deserve to do things, right? So you need to have that mindset. Let me do things what I can, I mean, let me do things which I can, try and deliver and achieve things. Like maybe if my capacity is 5, me trying to deliver 6, 7 is fine. But if I'm attempting, if I'm holding 10 things and then I'm like, just delivering 2 or 3 out of it and rest all are failing, like, but I'm holding those 10 things, right? So that's creating negative impact, like for me, instead of creating positive impact. So don't hold things unnecessarily. Where you can't, you have to accept it. But again, productivity, result oriented, like, be the result oriented person. Now, how to be an achiever, like, or how to be productive. Now, this is like, something like multiple things are there. I will not go much in details because this itself can be a big topic of discussion, but some guidelines for you people. The first one, learn to do the time management. What is time management? Time manage, there is nobody can create time, nobody can destroy time. You cannot make the watch 25 hours or 23 hours, right? So time management is nothing but priority management. You need to learn the priority management. What does it mean, like, by priority management? There are various methods. My preferred one is the Eisenhower matrix. I have done at least 3 PDCs on Eisenhower matrix. Like, I can provide the this thing also. You just Google it, you will find. I still use it. There are many people, like every person with whom I do one-to-one, I have push them to make use of this Eisenhower matrix. Like, it helps tremendously in your personal life, in your professional life, whatever problems you have. Like, this can really give you, if you learn Eisenhower matrix, like, it can really help you to be productive and ensure that you are like doing the right things at right time and adding value, creating the impact indirectly, this thing. So that is the first thing which I will recommend, like, so that you can be productive. Now, second thing what I have written is focus on one thing at a time. Now, there are million things that you could be doing, but what is that one thing that will deliver you the most results first? Do that. Start with it. Now, why I have done it, like, see, it can be a little controversial or this thing, but the fact is, like, sometimes we need to show ourselves little bit of success. When we show this success, like, that's what I have observed. Like, when we see some success, we encourage ourselves or we develop kind of self motivation. So let's say in a day you have a task list. So if I try and do something, like, which I'll be able to deliver or which I'll be able to finish this thing kind of, so indirectly, even if it's not something like big or this thing, right? Sometimes that can give the mental satisfaction to my mind, and, like, it will push me to do other things also. So but in that, like, what it's saying is identify maybe that one thing, like, which can give you the maximum result, or like, or sure shot, the output or like success kind of. Try to choose that one, like, and do that first, start with it. Like, maybe that will create a better impact for you, and that will add, like, more self motivation. The next one, learn to also think smaller. Now you'll say, like, what is this, like, contradiction? What does it mean by learn to, like, think smaller? Here smaller refers to a smaller actionable thing. Sometimes, like, when you think of a big task, so let's say my aim is that in 1 week I want to walk 100 kilometers. I'm just giving an example, okay? Now, when I see that that's a big task, like walking 100 kilometer is not easy. Like, and I'm thinking this way, oh my God, like 100 kilometers. So problem what happens is, when you look at the problem with the big size and quantity, it creates more negative impact in your mind. And, like, you will always be reluctant to start, or there will be, like, back and forth kind of, you will not be able to put in more energy. But if I think this way, 1 week, 7 days, 100 kilometers I have to, like, that means, like, 15 kilometers per day. So what I can do is morning 7.5 kilometer, evening 7.5 kilometers. So now I have cut down my things into smaller tasks, and I'm thinking, okay, today's aim, morning half, I have to complete 7.5 kilometers. That is much, rather than looking at 100. When I'm looking at 7.5 kilometers, it's much smaller, right? So that will, like, the impact will be much lesser. Like, and maybe I'll be okay, fine, 7.5, like, I can cover. Like, let me start with it, like, yeah. But if I say 100, then, like, maybe, so that's the trick over here. Like, try and break it down into smaller things when you have something big, and try to, the aim again here is to achieve thing, because achieving 7.5 is much probable, much easier, right? So I can achieve it. 100, doubtful, right? So that's the trick. Identify and eliminate distractions. Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Do everything in your power to give your fullest attention to the task at hand. It happens sometimes, like when I'm doing something, colleague of mine comes and say, hey, let's, Madhav, let's go for a tea, let's go for this, and, like, let's go for talk and all. I do need tea, I do need break, but, like, if I'm doing something, like, and I'm about to achieve, maybe, like, I will avoid that distraction. This is just one example. Distractions can be in different formats. Like, sometimes somebody else dumping, like, their work on you, which you can always politely, like, say no to, or pass it on, that I have these things, like, which are priority, so I'll be not be able to maybe do. So whatever way the distractions are coming to you, if you can, like, work towards eliminating, first of all identifying, and then eliminating them, then that will always help you to ensure that you are on track to do things what you are supposed to and achieve, right? Next one, like, create template and use. I kept recreating the wheel rather than reusing and repurposing formal lessons, materials, and content. Like, so this one line which, like, I have taken, and I feel this is something very, like, important. Every time, like, I do something new, I need to make sure that, I create, like, I keep that thing as a format, or, like, I keep that thing as a structure somewhere, so that I can reuse it, rather than every time, like, the simple thing, when I'm sending, like, some sales related emails to some of our clients and this thing, right? If I create one template, I save it, like, I keep it with me. I have drafts, like, where I have saved different messages, what I need to send for what type of occasions and all. So every time I don't need to break my head, I just take it. If any, like, minor modifications needed over there, I do that, and I send it. It's time saving. That's what we are trying to do with agents and this thing, right? Automation. Kind of what it's suggesting is, see how you can automate your work, how you can make it faster, like, so that you save time and you don't reinvest time again and again. The last one, do that dreaded work first. I'm not sure where I heard this productivity hack, but it's turned out to work well for me. I find that one task that dreaded, and I do it first. This way it's not looming in my mind the entire day. So sometimes, like, what happens is, there are certain things which we are scared of, or, like, which we are worried of, in terms of task, or this thing, like, I'm asking, maybe with some complexity or some. Now our typical approach is, we always try to avoid addressing those, and we try to work on the other things. But the fact is, what happens when we try to take that approach, in our subconscious mind, that task or that complexity is still playing. So it's always better that you, like, try and tackle those first. Simple example, like a bad situation with client, like, and I need to address an email, like, or that situation to client. Now what happens, a lot of times I keep it, to do in the evening, so before they get up, like, I respond. But then during the entire day, no matter what I do, behind my head, like, that thing is there, like, okay, that pressure gets created, and it does create impact on the other task, on the other thing. So that's why, it's always, like, like suggested that that dreaded work, you try to, like, do it first. So at least attempt. kind of whatever you can. So even if you fail or this thing, like not necessary every day you will have this kind of things, right? So but when you have, try to address it first so it doesn't play back of your mind and it doesn't hurt your productivity on the other task. Now that's it, like the last one key takeaways. Now you are adding value if you are achieving things. Like now if you try to connect dots where we started adding value, we learned about that, then we went on how you can add value, like job description, like and like productivity we discussed. Now what is, then we learned what is productivity. So understand, connect these dots, like to add, you are adding value if you are achieving things which are favoring growth of your team and company and taking it towards success. You want to achieve success in your job, like in your career, no matter where you are working, whether you are part of HJ Innovation or some other company, this formula will always remain same. Like you will get growth wherever you are doing job if like you are adding value to your team or your company where you are working and you are taking it to the success. Now you can do that by being productive and also identifying right places where you can be productive, like or how you can add that value, right? So try to evaluate and identify if you are adding value. Analyze yourself, very important. Just doing hard work blindly, no, like may not be the most productive thing. Identify task actions in which you can add value. Ensure you are giving enough efforts towards these tasks and actions. Focus on achieving this task and action. Like just identifying doesn't mean anything. Ultimately you have to bring results. Like so being productive gives you value, while adding value makes you successful.